The week had been brutal. Everything that could go wrong did. Work was unbearable. Years of dedication meant nothing as my boss publicly tore me down over a minor miscommunication. I clenched my jaw, swallowed my pride, and absorbed the humiliation. By the time I pulled into my driveway, all I wanted was silence and a hot shower. Instead, I found Tracy's car blocking half the driveway. Of course, my sister-in-law had made another unannounced visit. Too exhausted for confrontation, I parked on the street and headed inside. The dimly lit house hummed with voices from the kitchen. I braced for Melissa's usual greeting, something to ground me after the day I'd had. But then I heard her voice, clear as day. "I just don't love him anymore." Tracy chuckled. "You knew this would happen. You were never over Liam. You just settled for Jordan because he was stable." Stable. Like I was a financial plan. My pulse pounded. I should have walked in, let them know I was there. But something told me to listen. "I've reconnected with Liam," Melissa sighed. "He makes me feel alive." "So what's the plan?" Tracy asked. "Divorce," Melissa said firmly. "And I'll take what's mine." My stomach twisted. Take what's hers? The state favored women in divorces, and I had no prenup. Tracy let out a whistle. "Damn, that's cold. I have to think about my future," Melissa said, unbothered. "Liam is successful, but why should I leave with nothing when I've put in time with Jordan?" I earned that. Earned. Like I was an investment she was cashing out. I stepped back, mind racing. The late nights on her phone, the coldness, the excuses. I had ignored the signs. I wasn't her partner. I was her safety net. Now, she was, planning to discard me and take half of everything. A strange calm settled over me. I wouldn't storm in, argue, or plead. That's what she wanted, a fight she could twist. No, I would act before she did. That night, I checked into a motel under a different name, paid in cash, and got to work. I transferred investments to offshore accounts, liquidated assets gradually, and emptied our joint account just enough to avoid suspicion. The next morning, I covered my tracks. I told work I was leaving on a last-minute business trip. I swapped my car with my closest friend, bought a burner phone, and disappeared. Before leaving, I sent an anonymous email to the police stating I was leaving voluntarily. If Melissa tried to report me missing to access my accounts, they'd shut her down immediately. Then I cut her off completely. The house in my name would default without my income. The credit cards, all under me, were canceled. She had bet on Liam, thinking she'd take my money with her. Now she had nothing. And Liam, he was a leech. The moment he realized Melissa was penniless, he'd vanish too. I drove aimlessly until I found a quiet town, a fresh start. At a diner, I overheard an older couple worrying about losing their ranch. Seeing an opportunity, I offered to help. Ranch life was brutal. My muscles screamed, my body ached, but I didn't quit. Frank, the owner, saw my determination and gave me a chance. Then I met Charlotte, his daughter. Sharp, beautiful, and skeptical of me from the start. She questioned everything, watching my every move, waiting for me to slip up. Fine. I'd prove myself. One scorching afternoon, after fixing an irrigation line, I found a creek at the far end of the ranch. Stripping down, I waded into the cool water, letting exhaustion melt away. Just as I exhaled in relief, a voice cut through the quiet. "You don't belong here." I turned. Charlotte stood on the bank, arms crossed, eyes burning with suspicion. I met her gaze, unflinching. "Maybe not, but I'm here." And for the first time in a long time, I had no intention of leaving. The water was too tempting to resist. I stripped off my shirt and waded in, savoring the cool relief, until a sharp intake of breath made me turn. Charlotte stood on the bank, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "This is private property," she said, voice clipped. I smirked. "The same private property I work on?" Her jaw tightened. "This is my swimming spot." Understanding clicked into place. She wasn't mad I was here. She was mad I'd found her place. When she smirked back, I knew something had shifted. "Just don't get in my way," she said, rolling her eyes before walking off. For the first time since we met, I realized I liked this woman a lot. Life at Silver Creek Ranch had settled into a rhythm, but something felt off that morning. The horses were restless, the cattle uneasy. While Caleb fixed a water line and Charlotte checked on a sick foal, I spotted something near the far pasture, a section of fence tampered with. Moving closer, I saw two men widening the gap, rustlers. And worse, Charlotte was headed toward the creek, completely unaware. I should have gone for help. Instead, I stepped forward, boots crunching loud enough to draw their attention. One of them, Tyler, smirked. "You must be the new ranch hand." "Jordan," I corrected. "And you're trespassing." His friend chuckled. "So what? You gonna stop us?" I launched first. Football instincts kicked in as I tackled Tyler. His friend swung, but I dodged and landed a punch. The fight was brief. Caleb arrived, shotgun in hand. That was enough to make them freeze. Charlotte appeared, eyes wide as she took in the scene. "Call the sheriff," she ordered, voice sharp. Tyler and his partner were arrested. Their boss, Howard Calloway, taken down soon after. Frank clapped me on the back. "Looks like you're not just some city boy after all." But the most surprising reaction came from Charlotte. She found me, later that night by the barn. "You could have gotten yourself killed," she said quietly. I met her gaze. "So could you." Something changed after that. She still challenged me, but the scrutiny was gone, replaced by curiosity. The tension between us grew, shifting from subtle glances to charged moments. One evening, after an argument over a horse treatment, she grabbed my shirt and kissed me. It was fire, frustration, and something inevitable. When she pulled back, breathless, she smirked. "That shut you up." Months later, I returned to Texas to finalize my divorce. Melissa, once so sure of her control over me, had nothing left to take. She signed without a fight. As I walked away, she whispered, "You really hate me that much?" "I don't hate you," I said. "I just don't care anymore." Returning to Wyoming, I had a plan. Calloway's land, now up for sale, was prime property bordering Silver Creek. I bought it, knowing it would secure our future. When I told Charlotte, she punched my arm. "You idiot," she breathed. "You didn't even ask." I pulled out a ring. "Because this isn't just a business deal. It's our future. Marry me." Her slow, breathtaking smile sealed my fate. Yes, our wedding was a town-wide event. Frank, uncharacteristically emotional, placed Charlotte's hand in mine. "Take care of her. Always." After a honeymoon in Hawaii, we built our forever home, a strong, simple house overlooking the land we loved. The ranch thrived, expanding under Frank's reluctant approval. Not everyone welcomed our success. Neighboring rancher Jim Holloway sabotaged our fences and stole cattle. We caught him on surveillance, and the sheriff handled the rest. Silver Creek was not to be messed with. Then came the best news of all. One morning, Charlotte placed a pregnancy test on the counter. "We need to talk." "Is that—" She nodded. "It's positive." I pulled her into my arms, overwhelmed. We were having a baby. As her belly grew, so did my love for her, for the life we were building. One night, as she rested against me, I looked into her blue eyes and knew. I was exactly where I was meant to be. Not just on Silver Creek Ranch. With her, with our family, finally home.